It's Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. So let's say you've put the effort in to set some boundaries. Now, how are you going to enforce them, right? It's hard to enforce our boundaries. It can be hard to repeat over and over, what those boundaries are. Setting them is hard in the first place. And so I want to share with you a few tips that you can use to actually help you put those boundaries kind of on easy mode or on an easy setting. And this is to actually let your tech help you enforce your boundaries, right? So we know that it's hard for us to enforce our own boundaries. We're nice people. We want to make exceptions. We want to be there for other people, right? But we need our boundaries to protect our time, to protect our mental health, to make sure that we're focused on the things that are most important to us. We need those boundaries for all sorts of reasons, right? So let's let our tech help us instead of having our tech really be an intrusion into some of those boundaries. There are a number of things we can do. So one of the things we can do is to use our calendar to block off our personal time. So maybe you're a new mom and you need pumping breaks in the middle of the day so that you can pump for your new baby. Put those on your calendar, right? Now, if you want, you can actually say that they're pumping breaks. And I think that will do a world of good because that will show other people that motherhood and parenting is just a really normal part of life that we should normalize and that we have needs there. But you might not feel comfortable doing so. That's okay too. You could just put it as private, but block off that time that you need. You can block off your evening times, right? I mean, I remember once I was working 3/4 time for a company. And so I was working about, usually 8 to 2 p.m. So I was working 8 in the morning to 2 p.m. And I used to just block off 2 p.m. till the next day, just to let people know when I was around. And it wasn't always that people were trying to, encroach upon my boundaries. It's just that it was a lot easier for them to know, oh, she can't meet after 2. It's blocked off in her calendar. So there was a lot less of pushback that I even needed to do because people would see when I was available and when I was not. And using your calendar to set that up for you can be really great because then you don't have to constantly be reminding people or just feeling as though, oh, because they're asking me, it must be because it needs to happen during this time, instead of just because it was an oversight that they didn't realize those were your work hours, right? Now, taking it a step farther, both in Google and in Outlook, you can set it up so that your calendar will auto decline meeting invites that happen outside of your office hours or that happen, when you're away, right? When you're on vacation, et cetera. And so you could actually go and set that up. And then you don't have to be reminding people because stuff will just auto decline if it's not during times where you are planning to be working. Now, you can also, we're talking all about calendar here, but let's talk about our email, our Slack, our Teams, all of that sort of stuff, because you can use tech to help you set some boundaries there as well. So one of the things you can do is to use custom away messages. So for Slack or for Teams, if you are, you're going offline for the night, right? You can put a custom away message that just says, hey, I'll be back on, at 9 a.m. tomorrow. If you need me in an emergency, here's how to get me. Now, if you need to just be heads down on something for a few hours, you can still do that. You can use a custom away message that just says, hey, I'm heads down for a couple of hours. I will be back online at 4 p.m. And if you need me before then, because it's an urgent emergency, here's how you get me, right? So you're always giving someone an out of like, if they really do need you in the next 5 minutes, how do they get you in those cases? And you can use your email signature for something like this too, or an out of office reply. So you can put the times, say that you are responsive to emails and Slack messages and things like that. You could put it in your email signature. You could say, I generally respond to messages between, the hours of 9 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Just let people know that. Or you can set away messages, or sorry, not away messages, but out of office replies. And this is something that I do every single weekend. I have an out of office reply that goes on my email from around 4 or 5 o'clock on a Friday until Monday morning. And it just lets people know that, hey, I'm not around on the weekend. I don't typically check email on the weekend, but here's when I will get back to them. And here's how you get me in an emergency. Now, at this point, I don't, because I work for myself, I don't actually put the here's how you get me in an emergency part on, but certainly when I worked for other people and there were emergencies that were, outside of my control every once in a while, then I would definitely put that in there. And the thing is, it sounds maybe a little scary to do this, to let people know that you're not, you're not checking email, you're not going to be doing these things. But it does two things. One, helps keep you in integrity, or it does for me anyways, because I have put it out there that I'm not going to be processing my email on the weekend, then I really need to stick to that because otherwise I am, I'm just not doing what I say I will. And that's actually pretty important to me. So the other thing that it does is you would think that people might say like, ugh, like what if I need to get her faster? But I will say I've only had positive responses to this email out of office reply that I put on the weekends. People are happy to see it because I think it's something that then sparks in their mind, oh, maybe I could do that too. Right? I could do that too. So I want you to think about your tech. I want you to think about those things that we talked about here today. Is there anything that you could add, any tweaks that you could add in to just help your tech help you enforce those boundaries? We don't want to make it hard on ourselves. So let your tech make it easy on you. And if you like this type of content and you want to make sure that you're getting it, make sure to subscribe so that I will show up in your feed every single week.
Exactly like she said, make sure to subscribe because only a very small percentage of you guys are actually subscribed. So it'd be like a super big help and huge support for the channel if you were to subscribe.